The BBC's Lise Doucette reporting there. And in another sign of discontent, Tunisia's General Labour Union has called for a rare nationwide strike this week. Back home, Australia is a nation of migrants. 1 in 4 people was born overseas. About 160,000 people settle here each year. Some of them return to their places of birth. The number leaving permanently is almost 20,000 a year. More than half are going to New Zealand and the United Kingdom. But there is a growing minority returning to the world's youngest country. Once refugees, they now hope to help South Sudan establish itself.
Francis Deng is packing up to leave Australia for good.
I am excited. I'm excited to return to South Sudan. I'm excited to meet the people of South Sudan. I'm excited to see how that country is working and operating after emerging from civil war and since it became independent.
Mr. Deng is a product of that war. A refugee for 15 years, he spent most of that time in Kakuma refugee camp in neighbouring Kenya. His ticket out when he was selected, with 23,000 like him, to resettle in Australia. Here, he trained as an army reservist and gained a bachelor's degree in commerce, landing him a lucrative bank job. Now, he's leaving that all behind.
Someone like me with the skills that I've learned in Australia is very much needed in South Sudan.
And that's been his motivation to go home.
If I can make a difference in South Sudan, if I can make a difference in a child life, in a personal life in South Sudan, at my level, I would be very much happy to return to South Sudan as I am doing.
According to a recent report, he's not alone. Almost 90% of South Sudanese Australians surveyed have signalled their intention to return home. That's been fuelled by a sense of obligation to use the skills they've gained here to help build their new country. Researcher Robert Onus says while conflict is often associated with a brain drain, that's not what's happening in South Sudan.
And those skills range from university education in public governance, medical specialties, a smaller amount of accounting and engineering, but a lot of skills related to peace and development.
But some remain unconvinced. Mr. Deng's childhood friend visited Sudan in 2007, but he's decided to stay put.
My feeling was back in Australia, but my heart was telling me that this is where you're supposed to be, if everything was right, if there was no war.
But things are far from right. Recently, he received news that a relative was murdered in the capital, Juba.
But that is the very reason why people like Francis are going back there. Because if things like that are happening, you need more good people going back to actually join the system and the process and change things.
So that one day, these friends can reunite in South Sudan. Sahel Damouni, World News Australia.
And according to the Bureau of Statistics, the number of permanent departures from Australia declined in 2008 and 2009. It's believed that, Ricardo, was mainly due to the global financial crisis.
OK, like it when you talk business and finance. Thanks, Kathy.